When you write a document, like a school report or technical article, you organize and structure that document. You provide appropriate headings, separate the content into sections, and define a footer as needed. So too when building an HTML document. The best first step when creating a web page is to figure out what content to show and how to organize that content. Let's define a pet detail page. We want a way for the users to access our other pages, so we'll add a navigation bar at the top, maybe an image or our logo in the upper left corner, and some fun text in the upper right corner. We'll want to add this navigation bar to every page so the users can get anywhere from anywhere on our site. We want a page heading defining the purpose of the page. For our pet detail page, we'll use the pet's name in the heading, since this page only contains information about one pet. Then the picture of the pet. We'll add information on breed, age, temperament, and so on in an About Me section. Let's add a Fun Facts section with a list of interesting facts about the pet, and a My Story section for the pet's backstory. We could also have a sidebar for additional information, such as user quotes or related links. At the bottom, we'll add a footer with a copyright notice to protect our work. Just like with the header, we'll want to add this footer to every page. Sketching out a rough draft of each page saves time later when building the page. We can then mark up the sketch, defining the HTML elements. A header element encloses the introductory content, such as a page heading, logo, search box, and so on. Every page should have a header. We use a nav element to enclose any navigation. For our page, the navigation is nested within the header. The main element identifies the primary content of the page. All of our unique page content will be within this main element. An HTML document can only have one main element. Within the main element, we can define one or more article elements to break the content into independent units. Our content only displays one pet, so we only need one article in this example. We could use multiple article elements if this page showed multiple pets' details, or multiple blog posts or multiple products. Our page is further divided into sections for About Me, Fun Facts, and My Story. So nested in the article element, we use a section element to enclose each section of the article. In most cases, a section has its own heading. If we add a sidebar, we'd use an aside element. After the main element, we use a footer for the footer of the page. The footer element contains a copyright notice, contact details, or any other fine print information. By inserting these additional semantic or meaningful organizational elements, it makes it easier for a search engine to understand the purpose of each part of the web page and help screen readers better describe the contents. Plus, we can style these elements for a consistent look across our website. Here is an outline of our design page. Our layout provides a clear indication that we have a header with a navigation bar, that our main content consists of a single primary independent topic defined with an article element, 3 subtopics defined with section elements, and a sidebar defined with an aside. Lastly, we have a footer. Depending on your page layout, you may use these organizational elements differently. For example, if you are displaying something with a layout similar to a newspaper, you may have markup more like this, with content grouped into sections, like local news, weather, and sports, and articles within those sections. These semantic organizational elements are meant to be flexible. Select the elements appropriate for your layout. Before we move on, let's take a moment and talk about head, header, and heading elements. Recall that the head and body elements provide the structure separating the elements we don't want display in the page and our content. The header element is nested within the body element and defines the introductory content for a page, though it can also be used within an article or section if desired. What about the heading elements? If you've ever used Microsoft Word, Google Docs, or a similar application, you may have noticed the ability to style headings by picking Heading 1, Heading 2, and so on. HTML has the same concept. The H1 through H6 elements provide 6 levels of headings, with H1 being the largest and H6 the smallest. By default, the headings look like this, but you have the ability to style them differently using CSS, as we'll see later in this series. So, consider sketching each web page to lay out the content. It doesn't need to be fancy, but it helps you think through how to organize the page elements. The key semantic organizational elements include header for the introductory content, such as heading and navigation. Main encloses the content unique to the page. Use article to enclose each block of independent content that could stand on its own. And use the section element to group together a set of related content. Think of it like a section of a document. The aside element is for any sidebar, pull quote, advertising, or other content that is not required for understanding the main content of the page. And footer is for the small print content at the bottom of the page, such as a copyright notice or contact information. Use the appropriate heading elements, H1 through H6, to define headings for each part of the page. Now let's build a well-organized page.